so this is the note page that you should have printed today. And we can see that we are going to identify the kind of energy that each of these objects produces. So in the first one, we have clearly a sun. The second object we're going to look at is a microwave. The third object we're going to look at looks like an iPad. And the last one is going to be a rocket. So some of you may like to go ahead and try this on your own and then use this video as kind of like checking your work, and that's fine. So if you want to pause the video and you want to take a look at each object and think to yourself, what kind of energy is being produced by the sun? And then look at each of your choices, and you can just circle them. So if you'd like to do that and you want to try it out on your own first, then I encourage you to do so. And you can pause this video and come back, and then we'll go through this together. All right, so if you are still watching the video right now, then you are going to go through this with me. Those of you who went ahead and paused the video, then right now you're using this to kind of check over your thinking and check your work. So the first one we were looking at was the sun. And we know that the sun produces light energy. That's why we have daylight. We also know that the sun definitely produces heat energy. Now, when we look at the others, electrical energy, not necessarily. Sound energy, no. Mechanical energy, no. So right here we have two types of energy that is produced by the sun. Now, can we use the sun's light to produce electricity or to generate electricity? Yes, but the sun does not directly produce electrical energy. Now let's look at the second object, a microwave. Well, you guys, hopefully I'm sure that you own a microwave at home, and you know that the first one that we think about is probably heat energy. You put food into the microwave to heat it up. We also know that there's a light that turns on inside of our microwave. It's producing light energy. Now, we also know that our microwave is plugged in. So the kind of energy that it requires or that it uses is electrical energy. Now, what about sound? When you turn on your microwave, do you hear sound energy produced? Yes, you do. Now, what about mechanical? Are there any moving parts? Right. We know that inside a microwave, we usually have this plate, right? And it sits on top of this mechanism here in the middle. And usually there's arms that go underneath, and it rotates or spins this plate. So we have mechanical energy that's also being used. So all types of energy being used with a microwave. Let's talk about the iPad. Now, we know that it's obviously producing sound energy, right? If we're watching a video or playing a game or listening to music, we have sound energy from our iPad. We also have light energy. It lights up and we're seeing those objects that are being presented on the screen. Now, heat energy. This is an interesting one. We talk about this later on in another video when we're talking about changing forms of energy, and we relate that to our laptop or our computer. And we know that if you were to hold your hand up really close to your computer screen, they've gotten really fancy now, so you don't feel it as much, but they're also producing heat energy. In almost all of our computers, we have a fan that cools down our computer so it doesn't get overheated. Now, what about mechanical energy? Are there any moving parts in our iPad? This one's actually kind of tricky. I'm not sure about moving part in an iPad. I guess I'm going to put moving parts in iPad, ? And I'm going to encourage someone to try to find out, are there any moving parts? Is there anything that's actually creating mechanical energy or movement within the parts or the circuit board of your iPad? Now, electrical energy. Well, we know that right now, as it sits, it's not using electrical energy, but we know the moment we go to plug it in, right, into an electrical socket, then it is using electrical energy. What about the rocket? Let's take a look at this one. Well, right away, we're definitely producing sound energy. We can hear it as it's starting to lift off. We know that there's also light energy that's being produced. There's also heat energy. We can see that from these flames that are coming off from the bottom. Now, what about electrical energy? Do we plug in the rocket? No. No, this rocket's using chemical energy produced from some of the gasoline and other chemicals that we place into a rocket that then propel or move the rocket or launch it, but I don't know necessarily for producing or using electrical energy. Now, there are electrical components within this rocket. What about mechanical energy? Yes, we definitely have some moving parts. So I guess what I would say about these two would be right here. This one and this one. Like, are there moving parts in the iPad? And then we might have a debate on this one. Electrical energy is our rocket using or producing electrical energy. These are the two that usually spark a debate. So hopefully we'll have time in our live meeting and we can have a brief discussion about these two. But just taking a quick peek at the different types of energy or the different kinds of energy that objects can produce. Later we'll talk about how they can change form, so changing from one to another. Great job today.